Have you ever poured your entire soul into something, only to have it snatched away in an instant? Today we're diving into the incredible story of Layla Mirza, a name that once echoed with the promise of archery greatness, a prodigy whose arrow always found its mark. But this isn't just a story about talent. It's a story about what happens when the string snaps and the bow falls silent. From the moment she first picked up a bow at age 10, Layla was a natural. It was more than just a sport. It was her language, the way she made sense of the world. The gentle curve of the riser in her hand, the tension of the string against her fingertips, the quiet hum as the arrow sliced through the air, it was all part of her. Her family's garage was her first training ground, filled with worn-out targets and the faint smell of fletching glue. By her teens, she wasn't just good. She was phenomenal. Junior championships, national records, they all fell to her unwavering focus and almost supernatural precision. The media called her the bullseye queen, and the path to Olympic gold seemed not just possible, but inevitable. Layla's life was a metronome of discipline, pre-dawn training sessions, specialized diets, mental conditioning, and endless practice. Her coach, a former champion himself, saw in her a once-in-a-generation talent. He pushed her hard, and she pushed back even harder. Her rivals respected her, even feared her. On the field, she was a silent storm, her expression unreadable, her movements economical and graceful. The world saw a champion in the making, a machine built for victory. But beneath that stoic exterior was a young woman who simply loved the flight of an arrow. The thrill wasn't just in hitting the 10-ring. It was in the perfect execution of 1,000 tiny details, the culmination of years of dedication in a single, fluid motion. Then came the day of the final Olympic trials. The stadium was electric. The weight of a nation's hopes rested on her shoulders, but Layla felt calm. She was in her element. She drew her bow for a crucial shot, the one that would punch her ticket to the games. She felt the familiar tension, the anchor point solid against her jaw. She started to release, and then an agonizing, tearing sensation exploded through her shoulder. It wasn't a sound, but a feeling, a sickening rip of muscle and ligament. The arrow flew wild, missing the target entirely. Layla collapsed, her world dissolving into a blur of pain and confusion. The diagnosis was brutal, a complete rotator cuff tear, compounded by nerve damage. The doctors were gentle, but firm. A normal life is possible with surgery and rehab, one told her, but your competitive archery career, it's over. The words hit her harder than any physical pain, over. It was a single word that erased her past and annihilated her future. The bow that had been an extension of her body now felt like a foreign object. The sport that had given her an identity had now taken it away. The first few months were a desolate wasteland of despair. The surgery was successful in repairing the joint, but the Layla who came out of it was a shadow of her former self. The rhythmic life she knew was replaced by the monotonous, painful grind of physical therapy. Simple movements like lifting a glass of water became monumental challenges. Her trophies and medals, once sources of pride, now seemed to mock her from their shelves. She avoided the archery range, avoided her coach, and avoided the concerned calls of her friends and teammates. The silence in her life was deafening, a constant reminder of the sound her arrow used to make. She was adrift, a ship without a rudder, her North Star extinguished. She felt like a fraud. Who was Layla Mirza without her bow? One rainy afternoon, wallowing in her misery, Layla stumbled upon an old box of her father's things. Inside, nestled amongst faded photographs, was a simple, unadorned wooden longbow. It was nothing like the high-tech carbon fiber machine she was used to. It was raw, traditional, almost primitive. On a whim, driven by a flicker of something she couldn't name, she took it out into her backyard. Her shoulder ached in protest, but she ignored it. She nocked a dusty arrow, not aiming at any target, just wanting to feel the string again. Drawing the longbow was a completely different experience. It was harder, less forgiving. It didn't rely on sights or stabilizers. It relied on instinct, on feeling. Her first shot was clumsy, wobbling through the air and burying itself in the soft earth 20 feet away. It was a terrible shot by her old standards. But in that moment, something shifted. There was no pressure, no expectation, no ghost of the Olympics looming over her. There was only the wood in her hand, the string on her fingers, and the simple, imperfect flight of an arrow. For the first time in months, she smiled. A real, genuine smile. This was the beginning of her second act. She dove into the world of traditional archery. She learned about Kyudo, the Japanese art of the bow, which emphasized meditation and spiritual connection over pure accuracy. She studied the history of instinctive shooting, a style that felt more like a dance than a science. She spent hours not just shooting, but carving her own arrows, fletching them with feathers, and learning the unique personality of her simple wooden bow. It was a process of unlearning. She had to forget the obsession with perfection and embrace the beauty of the process. Her recovery was no longer just physical. It was mental and spiritual. She wasn't trying to get back to who she was. She was discovering someone new. The focus shifted from the destination, the bullseye, to the journey, the drawing of the bow, the quiet mind, the graceful release. Her new form was different, adapted to protect her injured shoulder, but it was strong, it was hers. Word of Layla's return in this new form began to spread through the archery community. People were curious. They came to watch her practice, not in a stadium, but in a quiet field. They saw a serenity in her that hadn't been there before. Her shots were still remarkably accurate, but now there was a joy in her movements, a lightness in her spirit. She started a small workshop, teaching kids not how to be champions, but how to find connection and mindfulness through traditional archery. She taught them that the goal isn't always to hit the target, but to have the courage to draw the bow. Layla Mirza never went to the Olympics. She never won that gold medal. And yet, her story became an even greater source of inspiration. She had found something more valuable than victory. She had lost her career, but she had found herself. Her journey teaches us a profound lesson. Sometimes, the greatest triumphs don't come from achieving the dream we set out for, but from finding the strength to create a new one when the old one is shattered. It's about understanding that our identity is not defined by what we do, but by who we are in the face of adversity. Layla's arrow may fly differently now, but its path is truer than ever. Thank you for watching this story of incredible resilience. If you've ever had to reinvent yourself after a setback, share your experience in the comments below. Let's inspire each other. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that move you. Until next time.